Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about chart rulership.
Hi, I'm Charlie Starr. The video you are about to watch is part of my free course, How to Read a Birth Chart. And now, back to this video.
How do you know which planet rules your entire chart, and what does that really mean for you? Your chart ruler is going to be the planet that rules the sign that's on your ascendant. So for example, if you're a Capricorn rising, then Saturn is your chart ruler. If you're an Aries rising, then Mars is your chart ruler, and so on and so forth. Let me answer two questions. One, what do you do if there are two rulers that rule your rising sign? For example, if you're a Pisces rising, Jupiter is your ruling planet and Neptune is the modern ruling planet. So which one is your chart ruler? The traditional chart ruler, because the traditional planets are more personal planets and they more describe things that are tangible to our experiences. So it's more helpful, in my opinion, to go with the traditional chart ruler and to gather secondary qualities from the modern chart ruler if you have one. Second question to answer is, what does this mean for me? What is this actually describing? Your chart ruler has two primary jobs in your life. The first one is that it's mostly going to filter and color information that comes into your life that you then process and deal with. So because everything that you experience kind of has to go through your chart ruler, that's why they're the chart ruler. So everything that happens to you, it's kind of like they're the gatekeeper for it. Every other planet, every other person in your life, every other experience you have, it's kind of like your chart ruler, the planet that rules your entire chart, has to okay it, has to like open the door and allow whatever that is into your life. Basically, it has to go through the filtration process of that planet's approval and that planet's perspective. So it's going to color everything in your entire life. It's the gatekeeper for all your experiences. And in practical terms, what this really means is that this planet is your primary teacher in life. With the ascended sign, this not only colors how we experience our world and what we experience, but it's also who we are attempting to embody at our most idealized self. Okay, so if we are having, for example, Saturn as our chart ruler, the themes of Saturn, which has to do with responsibility, consistency, stability, structure, etc., are the themes that color our entire life. And we are on a lifelong quest to embody Saturn characteristics in ourself. So whoever your chart ruler is, you are learning to embody that. You are learning to internalize the qualities and attributes of that planet. No matter what, it's going to actually color the way that you see yourself, and eventually, especially, it's going to color the way that other people see you, whether for good or for bad. So without spending too much time describing what the chart ruler does, let's go through each of the traditional planets and describe what they act as and how it looks when they are your chart ruler. That will help give you an idea not only for yourself, but if you watch all of the different planets, it will give you a better idea for what the chart ruler is really about. One quick note about planets that are on the ascendant. If you have a planet that's in conjunction with your ascended degree, or even a planet that's in your first house, that planet is going to have a huge role to play when it comes to your filtration for the world, your perspective on the world and the things that you aspire towards in your life. If you are a Scorpio rising or an Aries rising, then Mars is your chart ruler. Listen up, Scorpio and Aries rising. You are here to be the warriors. You guys are here to protect the innocent, to defend yourselves and those that you love, to stand up for what's right. You are not here to back down, okay? So this is what we need from you. This is your life calling, okay? So in your past lives, you may have had a lot of experiences that were traumatic for you. There might have been a lot of things that you let happen that were not okay, but you didn't have the ability to fight for yourself, to defend yourself. And this may be repeated early on in life, particularly if you're a Scorpio rising, this would be true. So this lifetime, you are not meant to stand on the sidelines. You are meant to go after your life and make it what you want. If Mars is your chart ruler, things do not get handed to you. There are no like silver spoons for you, okay? So you have to go after what you want. You have to create what you want. You have to take initiative. You have to take action. You cannot stay silent, and you cannot allow yourself to be beaten down. Okay, so this is the things that you are here to learn, that you are here to be, that you are here to go forward. You guys are also inspirational and you are heroes because you are able to speak up for people that aren't able to, that don't have a voice and they don't have a choice in the matter. They can't speak for themselves, okay? So that is your role in this life. Scorpio rising, Aries rising, you have Mars on your ascendant, and this is not a lifetime to be calm, be docile, be put, like I said, on the sidelines, because that's not what you're here to be and that's not what you're here to do. Now, some challenges that can come with that, because especially Scorpio rising, because bad things have happened to you in the past, sometimes there's fear that keeps you making decisions that are not the best for you because you're making those decisions based on fear. So if you're a Scorpio rising and Mars is your chart ruler, Mars is primarily concerned with the healing qualities of Mars. Most people don't think of Mars as a healer, but Mars is a healer. Mars just does healing different than other planets. So we tend to think of healing as taking rest, taking time to soothe our systems, to cool down, to get out of fight or flight response, but that's not always how healing happens, okay? So sometimes in order to heal, we have to have surgery. Sometimes in order to not get an infection or to stop a bleed, we have to burn ourselves. We have to cauterize our vessels. So a lot of times healing can be very violent in and of itself. It can be painful in and of itself. And that is the type of healing that Mars does. Mars is brave and does what needs to be done in order to cut off the things that are no longer helpful for you, that are no longer working out for you. And sometimes that has to do with cutting yourself out from relationships or situations that are not supportive or sustainable for your life. Mars is about survival, and Mars is the protector of Rome and protector of the Italian people. So Mars also has a role in protecting the peace of the people, and that includes yourself and other people who can't speak up for themselves. So also, sometimes the challenge with Mars as your chart ruler can be lacking strategy, especially if you are an Aries rising. Sometimes the fear that you act out in has to do with a wounded ego and just reacting, because Mars has to do with the instinct, and you are meant to be an instinctual person, and you should not allow anybody to dim your fire, so to speak. But sometimes there's inexperience that leads you to make mistakes along the way that have to do with going too much with all of just an instinct, with all of a drive, just like muscling your way through a situation when a little bit of strategy would have made you go so much farther. So think before you speak, learn strategy in your life. Okay, Aries rising, okay, Scorpio rising. Heal yourself, heal the world, stand up for the innocent, stand up for yourself. You have a lot to learn from Mars, and Mars is your patron. So thank you for coming into this life and choosing Mars as your chart ruler. And please leave a comment below if Mars is your chart ruler and if you've learned anything interesting that you think is very helpful to other people who have Mars as their chart ruler. Okay, if you are a Libra rising or a Taurus rising, then Venus is your chart ruler. Venus, as your chart ruler, means that you are here to be a creator. You are here to sustain and nourish the world. You are here to gain and accumulate resources, wealth, luxury, money. You are here to make the world beautiful. You are here to bring peace. You are here to bring love, to learn about love, and to teach other people about love. Okay, so having Venus as your chart ruler makes you a very creative person, and this makes you also a person who is very focused on relationships. Part of your calling in this life is to learn about how to deal with attraction towards others, because you're going to experience attraction to other people that causes kind of like major problems in your life. And this is happening for a reason, okay? So this is not really like a side story. This is a major theme in your life. So how do you deal with the things that you want? Venus is not the same energy as Mars. When Mars sees something that Mars wants, Mars goes after it. But Venus's approach is to attract it. So there's a lot that you have to learn here when it comes to attracting what it is that you want and creating an intention and letting that thing that you want come to you. So how do you become the person that attracts the partner that you want? How do you become the artist that is going to deserve the spotlight? Don't chase the spotlight. Don't chase the money. Don't chase the partner. You're not here to chase. You're here to be chased, because you are the thing that's attracting all the valuable, beautiful, wonderful things in life that you deserve, Libra and Taurus rising. Now, Venus also has to do with our bodies, because Venus rules the sign of Taurus. If you have Taurus as your rising sign in particular, especially, then this means that your relationship to your physical body is also front and center in this life, and it plays a huge role in what you're here to experience. The thing about Venus ruling Taurus is that Taurus is the sign of resources, and so here the experience of having a body, your relationship to your body, is often that your body is seen as a resource and as a commodity. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be a problem, except that we live in a culture where resources are exploited and they're not honored and they're not valued and respected for their innate value. Okay, so they're only seen. We as a society have a problem with the Earth's resources because we don't honor the Earth. We think that the Earth's resources are here for us to use and then throw away. So the approach, that's not really in my opinion, this is my philosophy coming in, but this is not how we are meant to interact with the world. The world is sacred, and everything in the world is sacred and deserving of honor. And so when you have broken that relationship to the earth, then you have broken that relationship to your body. And when the body becomes something that is a commodity, is a resource, then the body becomes something that is only seen for how it can be used. And then if it can't be used in those ways anymore, it's discarded. So your relationship with all resources, which include your body, are under an evolutionary process. And Venus is here to teach you, and you are here to teach the world how to treat resources, how to treat their body, how to recognize the value, the innate value that the planet has and that we have. Okay, so that is something that and this is true of anybody, no matter what your ruling planet is, that this planet, who is your ruling planet, is like your patron teacher in life. And so this planet is going to teach you things about itself, and you are going to grow and mature and to take on the qualities the best qualities of Venus, and then you are going to act as Venus in all of their greatest qualities to the world. Okay, so that's true of every single rising sign, every single chart ruler, whoever your chart ruler is. You are learning to embody that planet and to be that planet's agent in the world. So Venus, the calling is high. We have many expectations for you, and thank you for coming into this world and being here, saying yes to being here to teach us how to have better relationships with the world and with our bodies and with our resources. Okay, so thank you. And especially to the Libra risings, thank you for being the artists that you are. Thank you for being the lovers that you are. Thank you for teaching us and learning about relationships, and many blessings on you. If you are a Gemini rising or a Virgo rising, then Mercury is your chart ruler. Mercury is the planet that you are learning from. Mercury is your teacher, and you are on a lifelong quest to learn about Mercury's characteristics and then to embody Mercury and to then teach the world what you have learned about Mercurial qualities. So what are these qualities that I'm talking about? Primarily, the quality of Mercury is that of communication, and primarily that communication is happening through language. This sounds potentially simple, but it's not, and it's especially so important in our day and age because the ability to communicate is expanding faster than our skill to communicate effectively. Communication is effective when one person has a particular perspective or information and then accurately transmutes that information to a person over here who doesn't have that perspective or have that information. Okay, so when that happens effectively, it actually brings people together and it brings people onto the same page. One thing that is challenging in your life, Virgo rising and Gemini rising, is that you have had the experience of your communication not going well. So people misunderstanding you, people misinterpreting what you have to share, people having their own spin on something that was not actually what you said at all. So there's a lot of misunderstandings that happen in your life, and this can be very frustrating because you oftentimes put a lot of intention into communicating clearly and efficiently and succinctly, and so then to have that not be received in the manner that you are intending is something that is so frustrating. So this is something that I have seen a lot of people go through, particularly you Virgo rising people, because you have Gemini on your midheaven as well. So you guys can be very analytical, and Gemini rising as well, with what it is that you are intending to say. What you say is very specific, and it has a very specific meaning that you've chosen those words for a particular reason. So having your communication not well received can be so frustrating, but you guys are on this journey to learn how to communicate effectively, and most importantly, to learn how to communicate with people that are different than you, because even though you're choosing the most appropriate words for what it is that you have to share, this is something that is maybe that word has like a different meaning to this other person, or that other person has a different way of communicating. And so taking in all of the parts of communication, because sometimes the challenge here with Gemini and Virgo rising is not utilizing all of the senses in the process of communication. So instead of just taking the words that are being said and having that be the primary thing, trying to understand where the person that you are communicating with is at emotionally, the underlying issues that may be why they're saying the things that they're saying. So dealing with the person as a whole to enable more efficient communication. This is something also learning how to listen to the other person, not listening to respond, but listening to hear. So learning how to communicate. This is really, really big for you guys' life. And a lot of the time, Mercury here on the ascendant makes you a very, very intelligent person. Mercury is the most skillful planet. So you guys are often very good at adapting to many different skills and applying your intelligence, because Mercury is the sign of the mind. So applying your mind to so many different facets of life, especially Virgo rising is the sign of the scientist. It's the sign of the researcher. It's the analysis and the problem solving and understanding how the physical world actually works. Gemini rising is going to be all more about psychology and media and understanding language more specifically. So no matter where you take this, if you have Mercury on your ascendant, you are incredibly hireable, and sometimes the challenge is in dealing with people that aren't on your level intellectually and learning to value those people for what they do have to offer, even though they don't have the same value as you do on a purely intellectual level. So again, that comes down to communication, because how do you communicate with this person that doesn't match you when it comes to intelligence? So all of these things are things that are so important for our world today. We do need to learn how to communicate effectively, because when we don't do that, everything crumbles. If you are a Cancer rising, then you have the moon as your chart ruler. Wow, this is such a high calling, okay? So you are here to embody the qualities of the moon and then to share those truths with the people around you. This is your calling, okay? So what does the moon do, and how are you to embody the moon? The moon is the illuminator of the night. The moon represents the subconscious and also our emotions. Our emotions are the primary language that the moon or our subconscious uses to communicate to our conscious selves about what is really going on with us under the surface. So the moon takes that light from the consciousness, that light from the self, and it brings it around to see ourselves, okay? So it's our reflection. Now, this can look so many different ways depending on which direction you take your life and, of course, other things in your chart. But one thing that you are here to do is learn to understand and listen to your emotions and understand the messages that your body and your subconscious are telling you through the emotions, through the dreams, through the subconscious feelings and sensations, through the energy in the room, okay? So Cancer rising, you walk into a room and you are immediately emoting your energy out to those around you. It's very strong and you cannot hide it, even though Cancer is the sign of the crab. So there is that shell, that exterior there, to where you're not trying to outwardly express your emotions, but your emotions are very strongly felt by everyone in the room. When you are able to learn how to express your emotions freely, because this is something that society does not teach us. This is something that you have to learn and then teach other people in society to do, okay? So there is so much toxic information out there about how to deal with our emotions, especially with how to repress and control our emotions. Emotions are seen as a thing of weakness and a thing to control, and you are here to grapple with that. You are here to learn about the wisdom that you actually have and the information that you actually have through your emotions, and the ways to healthfully express and flush out those emotions that are constantly flowing through you, and all these messages of energy that are coming to you at all times. So this may look differently, like I said, depending on who you are, like what other things are going on in your life. What is the predominant emotion that you're being told to repress? That may be anger, right? It may be sadness. It may be, you know, I mean, there's so many emotions that we stuff under. The moon also talks about the things that we need to nourish ourselves. So learning to nourish yourself and not see that as a weakness, but to see that as a source of strength. You are also here to nourish other people and to help other people have a healthy flush of emotions through them. Okay, so these are some of the lessons of the moon, some of the things that you are here to take on. Recognize that your intuition, your skills of empathy are a gift. Okay, so otherwise, if you are not up for this challenge, then you will become controlled by your subconscious, and those subconscious emotions that you have not been flushing out of your system are going to take over your life, and you are going to just react to things and be driven by your subconscious. You may not even be aware of why you feel the way you feel, why the way you do the things that you do, and you will still be a teacher for other people. You will still fulfill the things that they need to learn in life, but you're probably going to end up being the bad guy as opposed to being the good guy. So this is always up to you. No matter what your rising sign is, no matter who your chart ruler is, this is up to you, the direction that you take this energy. But this is the energy that you have to give to the world. The things that you have to learn is all about the moon. So learn about the moon, learn about the cycles of the moon. You as a Cancer rising are very, very connected to the cycles of the moon. So this can have a drastic impact on your own personal energy levels and what may or may not be healthy for you to be like going through in your cycle at the moment. But the number one source, even though it can be helpful to tune into where the moon is in the sky right now, the number one source for all of that is inside of you. So learning to face everything that's in here, not from a logical standpoint, but from an acceptance standpoint. This is going to really be the key, you guys, okay? So if you have the moon as your chart ruler and you have some advice for other people with the moon as their chart ruler, please comment in the section below. If you are a Leo rising, you have the sun as your chart ruler. What does this mean for you, Leo rising? Okay, so you are meant to embody the qualities of the sun, to learn the lessons that the sun has for you, and to then, this is a big challenge, be the sun for other people, okay? So what does that mean? Well, the sun is all about identity, but it's also all about our conscious identity, which is really another word for the ego. So the major question of your life, Leo rising, is who am I? You need to figure that out. And this question will take you down many different paths in life. This question will be answered by you by putting on different roles, putting on different hats. Leo is the sign of theater. It's the sign of performance. And you have to play with your life. This is sometimes difficult because the sun also feels a sense of responsibility towards others that sometimes inhibits your ability to play enough to figure out the answer to the question, who are you? But it needs to happen. So this is a struggle within yourself, your responsibility towards other people, coupled with the need to break free and figure out who you are. So you will try on many different hats, Leo rising. You will play. And this is how children learn about who they are and their role in society, right? Is they play pretend. You are in a life where you need to play pretend because you need to figure out who you are. There's some really important thing for you guys to focus on and pay attention to, because the challenge with Leo rising is that you will not know because this question is so overwhelming. And so you will quickly attach yourself to the answers that are expected from you for other people, particularly the answers that have to do with taking on responsibility towards other people, because the sun is the giver of life. So with Leo rising, Leo also loves to give. The sun loves to give, and the sun loves to provide for those around them. So this, I'm not saying that it's bad for you to have this as your identity. Your identity will involve giving to other people, but how you're giving to other people, it needs to be freely, it needs to be out of joy, and it needs to be out of a secure place where you know who you are. And if you are not there, if you're not able to get yourself there, if you don't have enough freedom to answer that question for yourself, you may end up in life feeling over responsible and over like burdened by the responsibilities of other people, and furthermore resentment and bitter that you didn't get to explore sides of yourself that you really needed to, because you were told that you were only allowed to be a certain person. Okay, so this is your life, Leo rising. This is not anybody else's life. And so you cannot blame other people for putting those expectations on you. Yes, they're putting those expectations on you, but it's up to you to accept those expectations and make them part of your identity, or to listen to your heart, because Leo is the sign of the heart and the sun is the planet of the heart. So you need to really listen to your heart, and you need to find that love for yourself first before you can start giving that love to other people. So that is my quest for you, as the sun is your chart ruler. You guys have a very high calling because you are answering some of the bigger questions about identity and self, and you are taking up an impossible task of providing light and illumination to the rest of the world. So if you have the sun as your chart ruler, thank you for coming here. You guys have such big hearts. You have so much to give, but please make sure that you are taking care of yourself first. Okay, if you are a Sagittarius rising or a Pisces rising, then Jupiter is your chart ruler. What does that mean for you? Well, you are here to learn the lessons of Jupiter, to then embody the qualities of Jupiter so that you act as the Jupiter in other people's lives. Okay, so what are the lessons, what are the qualities of Jupiter for you to learn? With Jupiter as your chart ruler, a lot of your life involves expanding your horizons and growing beyond what you currently know. There's a lot of exploring that needs to happen in your life. You are not able to stay small, so don't try and fit yourself into a particular bubble. Jupiter needs to be free from too many boundaries and restrictions in order to be able to expand and learn and grow beyond whatever boundaries that you were born with. Whatever restrictions that have been put on your life from an early age, they have to go. And sometimes this makes people with a Jupiter as their chart ruler very rebellious and unconventional, even though rebellion and unconventional stuff is not necessarily what Jupiter is about. But you do need to be dissolving barriers and dissolving boundaries. So you may be seen as quite a bit of a free spirit, and that is a good thing. That means that you are probably learning the things that Jupiter is here to teach you, because nothing can be off limits. You have to be able to expand your mind. You have to be able to expand your heart. So this has to do with compassion. This has to do with understanding that the truth to the big questions in life, because you as a Sagittarius rising or a Pisces rising are asking the big questions in life. You cannot remain small. You have to understand, how does the universe work? What is my purpose in the universe? What forms reality? What is real? How big is it? Is the fantasy world the real world? Is the expansion of reality is going to go beyond the physical world. You are not going to be satisfied with simple answers and clean-cut answers, because ultimately at the end of this you will learn to have to be okay with the fact that things do not fit in nice tidy boxes. That if you have created a god, Jupiter is the god planet, Jupiter is the god of higher truth, astrology, spirituality. Sagittarius is connected to religion. Jupiter is the god planet, and Jupiter has no boundaries. So taking on Jupiter as the qualities in yourself is also a lot of the time about learning about your own divinity. It's also about accepting the fact that the answer to the higher questions in life, the big questions in life, are not going to fit nice, neat, and tidy into a doctrine that explains everything. It's not going to explain everything, because if we make the universe so small that we can grasp it and that it can be contained within our own minds, then clearly we've missed something, right? So that is not going to explain everything. The truth and the reality of it, there's going to be an element of mystery, and that is something that Sagittarius rising and Pisces rising are eventually going to have to accept. This can be especially difficult for Sagittarius rising, because Sagittarius rising, the question is, what is true? And the search for truth can be so all-consuming that it's so easy to arrive at nice, tidy answers to the questions that we so desperately need answers to prematurely, and to stop expanding when we think that we've gotten to those answers. So the challenge with Jupiter as your chart ruler is to never stop growing. Okay, we are here. I have Jupiter as my chart ruler. We need to continue to expand. We need to continue to grow. We need to continue to break through boundaries and barriers. We eventually become the teachers for the world, the dreamers for the world. We are here to inspire people. We are here to show people what's possible, to believe in people. That's what Jupiter does. Jupiter believes in people, okay? Jupiter has faith in people. Jupiter gives joyfully free will and opportunities that people really haven't earned. And so that is part of the Jupiter as your chart ruler that we are here to be. We are here to be the divine source of joy and mystery to other people. And we can't do that if we are attaching ourselves and our egos to answers of how the world works. We need to continue to expand. We need to continue to grow. We need to stay humble, okay? That is the number one thing. Stay humble, expand your heart, expand your mind. Accept that you are divine. You are a divine source of light. And that source of light is not here to judge people or to push them in one direction or the other, but it's here to inspire people. It's here to have faith in people. It's here to believe in people and to give them opportunities. Okay, so that's what we're here to do. Okay, and lastly, if you have Capricorn as your rising sign or Aquarius as your rising sign, Saturn is your chart ruler. Oh boy. Okay, you guys have picked a doozy. So thank you for coming into this life and choosing to take on Saturn as your chart ruler. What does this mean for you? You are here to learn the lessons of Saturn and to then embody Saturn to the world. Okay, now what are the things that Saturn deals with? What are the things that Saturn has to teach? Saturn, as your primary teacher, teaches about the law of return. So this is about consequence for our actions, consequence for long-term consistent action. This is about putting in work with the thought of what we're going to be reaping in the future. Okay, so this is a very future-oriented planet, but this is also a planet of responsibility and commitments. So in this life, you're learning so much about responsibility, and you're learning so much about what it means to plan for the future and what it means to have consequences for your actions. Some of you are here to reap the results of karma from past life things. So some of you guys are going to have a lot to deal with past life issues. A lot of the issues that you have in your life, a lot of the patterns that you have in your life are patterns that you've brought from the past. You have multiple lifetimes coming into these lessons that you're learning, and you need to break those patterns, because that is what Saturn is also about as a planet of karma. And the way that Saturn works in the birth chart is Saturn also brings the breakage of patterns, because Saturn wants you to be in balance, and Saturn wants you to have the best return, the best reward for your efforts. So if you are stuck in a pattern that is consistently getting you less than the best result, then Saturn is going to come in and make your life difficult through challenges, through blockages, through, like basically saying no, or sometimes Saturn delays things in your life so that things take longer than you want, so that you're learning that you have to put in more time than you thought, or more consistent things. Things might take a long time. For everybody who has Saturn as their chart ruler, I tell them, look, if you, like other people in your life, if you see them quickly getting like success, and you're not getting success quickly, it's because Saturn is your chart ruler. Saturn is teaching you how to work, how to do things consistently. And this is something that people with, say, Jupiter as their chart ruler may not learn, because when they go to touch something, it immediately expands. So they have immediate success, immediate good luck with something. And because of that success, they may get bored and move on to something else. Because you don't immediately get rewarded for doing the things, then you are going to end up putting in the time. And that is what Saturn is trying. One of the things that Saturn will try to teach people with Saturn as their chart ruler is that, like, you're going to end up seeing greater results that other people that don't have that kind of discipline in their lives never get to see, because they experience success too quickly, and so then they move on to another thing, and so they're never going to reap the benefit of putting in a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of investment into something that really at the end of the day matters. So that's one thing about Saturn, is that other people might get paid every 2 weeks, but you're getting paid every 2 years. Okay. But when you get paid, you really get paid, and you're going to have things in your life that other people don't get to have. Okay. So Saturn is not an easy teacher, but Saturn is very patient, and Saturn is going to help you in a way that none of the other planets are helping their people. Okay. So y'all are here to learn some very, very difficult things. And something that I do see is it's almost like there's two ways that this could play out with, like, the way that this is internalized, because eventually you're internalizing Saturn, but how fast you're internalizing Saturn and how fast you're refining how you internalize Saturn is going to look different for everybody. So you might expect somebody with Saturn as their chart ruler to be very, very responsible. And a lot of the time, this is true. Most of the time, people with Saturn on their as their chart ruler, they feel a heavy sense of responsibility to stand up and be the responsible one, to work hard, to make commitments, to kind of like overburden themselves with doing too much and working too hard early on in life, and then consistently throughout their life. So sometimes that is the side of the spectrum that Saturn as a chart ruler will fall on. And so the issue, the lessons is in learning, in refining that process to where you're not taking on too much, to where you learn to have discernment about what is your responsibility and what is somebody else's responsibility, and how much you can handle. It's about having boundaries with other people when it comes to responsibility. Other people, they don't know how to take responsibility. And so Saturn as their chart ruler is here to teach them to be responsible for themselves and to take essentially the consequences, take the accountability for them, for their own actions. Okay. A lot of the time it is about learning patience, and it is about figuring out how to get to your goals from step 1 to step 100, especially like Capricorn rising. Okay. So there's a lot of different lessons that Saturn will have for you throughout your life as a person who has Saturn as their chart ruler. I would encourage you to get to know the planet of Saturn better, to do more research on the types of things that Saturn teaches, and to also see where Saturn is in your chart, what sign that's in, what house that's in. That's going to give you a lot of information. What is aspecting Saturn in your chart? This is true for all of the rising signs. Whoever is your chart ruler, pay special attention to where that planet is in your chart, and pay special attention to any aspects that are made, and definitely what sign that your chart ruler is in. It's going to give you more information on this, and you will see this evolving over time. Okay, and that is it for the chart rulership. Like I said in a couple of the clips, make sure that you are also taking in additional information on your chart, such as whatever planet is your chart ruler, where are they in your chart? What sign are they in? What house are they in? What aspects are being made to that planet? This is going to give you further information about your particular life lessons and how this is possibly going to play out for you in your life or has played out in your past. And also it can bring a lot of understanding as to why certain things have happened to you the way that they've happened to you, and doing some reflection on what lessons that planet is trying to teach you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.